This week on The Modified World, we're going to be piercing some nipples and talking about why modification matters. So, stick around. So welcome to The Modified World. It's the weekly web show about body modification, people who do it, people who get it, and of course, why it matters. I'm JC Potts. I'm the senior piercer up here at the world-renowned Pangea Piercing, this thing that's around me. It's in beautiful, sunny, downtown Ann Arbor, Michigan. Purvey internet wackiness. I'm sure you've heard this. And anyway, well this week, I had a nice young lady come all the way out from Utah to let me do the voodoo that I do. And she's so kind as to let us film while we're doing it. So I have to, of course, say thank you first off. This week, well, I've got a lot on my mind, folks. There's been a lot of stress and drama throughout the world. And a lot of it has a similar root to it. And unfortunately, it kind of ties in with body modification. I know you're like, what the hell? How does the conflict in the world tie into body mods? It doesn't make any sense at all. And I'm like, well, hang on for a little bit and I'll explain. Body mods to me are really important, first off, because, well, let's be real. I'm not Magic Mike, I'm not the best looking guy out there. I'm not ugly or anything, but I'm not the best looking guy out there. And of course, like a lot of folks, I had my own little issues with self-esteem. But being able to remodel the outside of the body to something a little bit more in line with what my inner monologue said really helped me out a lot, And so with that, I feel a whole lot of solidarity with like bodybuilders or trans people or, anything that where somebody wants to modify their bodies to feel more comfortable. I'm completely in favor of this. And I don't really care what people's mindset is about it all, but I'm completely in favor of this. Now, how does that tie into all this wacky crap that's going on throughout the world? Well, it's pretty simple actually. Western civilization, and yes, I'm going to go out here and say it, Western civilization has a long history of really being concerned about, not so much your place in life as much as what you can do. A very kind of a somewhat egalitarian type ideal, a meritocracy as it were, In Western civilization, we have the opportunity for folks like Bill Gates start out as just a common person, but then wind up being one of the wealthiest people in the world. That's pretty amazing. Beyond that too, we just have that freedom to be able to choose our paths. And that's important because a lot of the world is not very enamored with the idea of you being able to choose your own path. They want to be able to put you into a box, based on your race or your gender or your sexual orientation or something like that. And I stand against that. I say that, in the marketplace of ideas, there's pretty much enough room for everybody. As long as you're not trying to hurt anybody, then who really cares? But that's also a very Western ideal, a very Western viewpoint. We take it for granted because we live in it. I've been very lucky. I've gotten a lot of blessings from all this, and I want to see other people be able to enjoy the blessings of Western civilization as well. You should be able to choose your own path. However, though, there's a lot of folks that seem to disagree with me. They seem to think that, Western civilization has stolen and robbed and lied and all this crap. And, and I have to disagree with that. I look at it as a deal of like, everything with DNA on this planet is trying to put itself into a better position, both individually and collectively. People are really no different. However, a lot of the Western ideals of egalitarianism and meritocracy and allowing people to be able to choose their own path has led Western civilization to be extremely successful. All right, it's proven fact that if you allow people to choose their own path, they will work harder, smarter, better than if you just try to force them to say, oh no, you need to be a farmer, go fucking farm. It's like that doesn't really work for people, man. They figured this out a while ago to allow people to self-determinate, and we've been wildly successful because of it. A lot of times, though, people will be focusing on the negative aspects of Western civilization, of which I say, look at other civilizations, and they generally will have the exact same problems that we do. One of the big important things for me about body modification and Western civilization and why it all ties together is the fact that we in the West, we get this kind of a myopic viewpoint, you know? We will tell ourselves that, oh, we've stolen all these ideals and ideas from other cultures. And I say, no, that's not true, actually. These are universal things, all right? If you look at any animal that is self-aware, and when I say that, you mean you put a mirror in front of it and it recognizes that that thing in the mirror is itself, and that, you know, if you can put a mark on an animal and it look in a mirror and see the mark and react to it, well, that's a degree of self-awareness that most animals do not have. Bonobo monkeys, chimpanzees, orangutans, dolphins, orca, higher animals do this, but like gorillas don't, man. You put a mirror in front of them, they just get all angry and stuff like that. So, when an animal has a degree of self-awareness like that, once it starts realizing that it is this body, then a lot of times it'll try to start decorating it. You know, you see bonobos that'll like dress themselves up and groom themselves and do this, and it's okay. So, like I said, universal thing, not just even human, like all sentient creatures do this, okay? And so we have a tendency of like looking in the West and saying, oh, you know, it's terrible, you know, we don't have any rituals or things of our own, and what we have, we've stolen. You know, look at the body piercing, you know, it's all stolen from indigenous cultures. And I say, not necessarily. Who is Otzi? You know who Otzi is? Otzi the Iceman. He's a 5,000-something-year-old corpse that they dug out of the Swiss Alps. And he's got tattoos, piercings, dreadlocks, a knife, a bag of weed, all kinds of stuff, you know? Pretty interesting. My thought on this says that, wow, this is a universal thing, all right? So, I don't look at it as a deal of stealing other cultures. I look at it as just more of a readoption of old ways. So here in the West, we'll look and say, oh, we're so bereft of culture. It's terrible. You know, look at this guy over here in the plains of the Serengeti. You know, he gets some ritual when he becomes a man. You know, he'll gather his tribe, his clan, and he'll go to a shaman, and he'll give that shaman an offering, and then, you know, they'll say some words, they'll do some ritual, some blood gets shed, some pain gets felt, and now this person comes out of the ritual now as a man or a woman, whatever, an adult now, and then they'll bang the drum to let everybody in the local region know that, hey, this has happened. Okay, fantastic. We draw a huge disconnect, though, between that and the rituals that exist here in the West. Because what will happen is, you know, say you're 16, 17. Say you're female. Say you fit in a two-piece bathing suit. Well, there's probably a point that you're probably going to go and get your belly button pierced. You'll tell yourself, oh, it's because it's cute. But realistically, why is it cute? Well, it's because we say it's cute. You know, it's a cultural affectation that we have here in the West. So, a young lady of that certain age, once she's at the point where her parents are either going to allow her or her parents don't have control anymore, well, she'll gather her clan. They will go to the ritual mystical space. They'll speak to the shaman. They bring him an offering. I say some words. I do my little ritual thing. Some blood gets shed, some pain gets felt, and now you come out of it all grown up. And instead of banging a drum to let the whole people know that it happened, you post it on your Snapchat. It's literally no different, folks. It's literally no different. It's just different technology, all right? And we denigrate that. We forget about it. We ignore it and stuff. And I say no. We should embrace that. We should pay attention to that because, once again, A, universality. B, the fact that we have the options to do that. It just doesn't exist in other cultures. Other cultures, you're basically forced into doing the cultural things that you have to do to fit in. Here, you have your own choice. That's awesome. We should be promoting this. We should be paying attention to this. And we should not be throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Does Western civilization have, some, self-examining to do? Of course. I think every culture does. However, though, should we go ahead and throw it all out just because, somebody's feelings got hurt along the way or something like that? Yeah, I know. It sounds like the height of stupidity. And I can't disagree. It's probably not the smartest idea for us. Here's something important because historically, had I not done this, if I wasn't allowed to do this for a living, I'd have to go be a fucking farmer or something, man. And I'm sorry, I'm not really much on farming or hunting or anything like that. I don't even like living in a tent, all right? So I'm kind of thankful for all this. And it really kind of upsets me when I see folks that, just shit all over what it is that we've got here and how lucky we are to be able to do what it is that we do. And then examine our handiwork to see what you think. Let me know.
Sweet. Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah! Proudly show them. And be like, yes! I am woman, hear me roar!
Yes.
Yes, so thank you for letting me pierce you today. Give me a little elbow love. Bam! And that was my show this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, possibly remotely entertained. I've got more rants about culture and politics and, things of that nature. So if you haven't subscribed, you'll want to. Because it's cheap. It's actually free. And who doesn't like free? Everybody likes free. So go ahead and give me a subscription. We do this every week generally. So stop back by next week for yet another episode of The Modified World.